14? Okay, thank you. Hello everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Threads. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to talk a little bit about addictions and certainly the opioid crisis, although I realize that some may not think that it is, in fact, a crisis. However, I would say this: if it isn't, then what is it really? Because it certainly continues to progress, if we want to call it that, and but it certainly is growing every day and affecting many people, and certainly causing an awful lot of grief and sadness to those that to the addicts that are in fact and their families, and certainly with those that are ODing and committing suicide and so forth. However, it would seem that our Canadian government, shall we say, probably does not feel too much that it is a crisis, and certainly in regards with our current Liberal Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, who, as most of you all know, that he certainly has legalized marijuana, and that is something that I'm entirely against. I know that there are many, certainly the drug addicts out there, I'm sure were very pleased when he did so, and as well as others that are using it for, shall we say, medicinal purposes and so forth. But I also feel that there are many others that would disagree with such a decision. And but anyway, that, as we all know, is what it is now, and unfortunately, and anyway, it is out there. In regards to the addictions, as anyone knows, that they can certainly consist of many things. Whether it, now certainly the three major ones would be the drugs and the alcohol and the tobacco. But I mean, addictions can be anything from fast foods and fried foods and whatever else. But in regards to the, what I want to talk a little bit about is in regards to the current treatment and recovery facilities. You know, it seems that in recent times and even in recent years that our government is more, in a way, they're so laid back, because it seems that they're more interested, if you will, in setting up more steady groups and task forces and whatever else, as compared to actually finding solutions and ways to help these people. And certainly in Canada, if we talk about such things as lockdown facilities, they're actually unheard of. I mean, it's like with a drug addict or an alcoholic, for instance, they can go into a form of detox into a hospital, and they're maybe kept, what, 3, 5, 10 days, and then suddenly they are released and they're back out on the streets doing the same old thing over again. So it's total repetition, if you will, and this goes on from whatever time that they're having problems, and therefore nothing is really resolved. If you talk to families that have some of their loved ones, whether it be their sons or daughters or brothers or sisters or whatever, that are themselves drug addicts, you will find out that the recovery rate in Canada is what? Somewhere around 5 or 6%. Well, isn't that a little bit ridiculous? So how many of these people actually are really being treated and go into a treatment center and a recovery center as well, and then come out that are actually totally drug-free or alcohol-free or whatever you wish to call it. I mean, they're not. And the chances of them repeating again is certainly very high. And of course, speaking to some of the medical people, which I certainly have over the years, because I've had clients that have been addicts, and I've worked with these people. You know, it's like this. If you go to some of the medical people and you say, well, you know of a certain individual that is struggling with an addiction and is a drug addict or an alcoholic or whatever, almost the first thing that you get from them is something that would be said in the way of, you know what, why don't you just close the door on these people? You shouldn't be dealing with them. You don't want to really just be dealing with these people. I mean, walk away from them. They're not worth it. And I've heard that many a times. And I'm thinking, how absurd is that? How disgusting and despicable is that? I mean, in other words, if you have a brother that's a drug addict, you're just going to walk away from him and forget about him and you don't care. Or if you have a sister or you have a mother or you have a father or whoever it may be that is a drug addict, do you just simply walk away from them? Shut the door, really? Because you don't want nothing to do with them? I'm thinking to myself, what kind of a system do we have? The whole entire system, in my opinion, is simply not working. Yet, whenever we hear what the government is doing, well, what they're doing is they're still steadying the situation, or they're setting up more steady groups and task force because they need more reports. They need more time to steady it. Really? Haven't they had enough time? I would think that they should be coming up with real solutions, and those solutions should be put into action. But as a result, this is really not what's happening. So, again, I feel that with drug addicts and alcoholics as well, but particularly with drug addicts, I do feel that they should be put into a lockdown facility for at least a year. And if they're using crystal meth, then I would say at least 2 years. And I think a lot of doctors and medical people would state that. And therefore, after such time, then let them be monitored. And I do mean carefully monitored, adequately, for at least another, say, 3 to 5 years. And I think that if they had such programs in place, I do believe that there would be a higher rate of success than, shall we say, 5 or 6%. And because right now, of the way I see the whole system, it is totally inadequate, and it's just simply not working. This is the whole thing. And so what I want to say as well, certainly behind, I feel, and the people that I've worked with, I would say that with most with most addicts, or say in general addictions, there is a trigger behind all addictions. And whether that trigger, of course, it can consist of many things. I mean, sometimes it can stem from the time that they've been a child. Maybe there has been a situation in regards to child molestation. It can be in regards to sexual assault. It can be with a form of rape. But also, I do feel that in addition to this, there is the ones that I work with, there is also the issue of self-identity. And if they cannot accept themselves for who they truly are and what they are, then that can also be a trigger to addiction, because they see a form of, while using and being a drug addict or an alcoholic, they see that as it's like a mask, and the addiction itself becomes a mask to them, something that they can hide behind like a shield. And again, that is happening, I feel, with many, if not most, addicts. So anyway, in regards to this, I will be doing another video, which will be video 3, and in that video which will be coming up, and I'll be doing that very shortly. I'm going to be talking about my friend Ben and others that that I'm aware of that are now and have been for some time struggling with addiction. And so anyway, everyone, I thank you for joining me today. In the meantime, I also wish to mention my book, which is Standing in the Shadows, the Light. And if you have not already got your copy of it, by all means, go to Amazon.com, check it out, and get your copy today. Anyway, everybody, in the meantime, take care, keep safe, may God bless, and I'll see you soon.